Welcome to our latest roadmap update for managed services. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Brandee Vaselenak, and I am a product manager at Celero. I'd like to also introduce Greg Eaket, who many of you already know. And while he's not new to Celero, he has recently moved into the product manager role under managed services. In the last quarter, since we last presented the managed services roadmaps, we have been actually very busy in the planning stage for multiple products in preparation for product launches in the later part of the third quarter of this year. Today, Greg and I will highlight the key initiatives that are currently in flight. If you have any questions on any of the product items listed in the roadmap that we do not go into detail today, always feel free to reach out to Greg or myself for an update. First up is an update on the Office 365 project. As a quick reminder, the Office 365 project was initiated as the next evolution of our Active Directory, Exchange, SharePoint, and Skype for Business product offerings, which we are currently housed in an on-premise environment in Celero's technology centers. Moving these on-premise environments to Office 365 aligns with Celero's cloud strategy and being able to provide our customers with the most current feature functionality when it comes to communicating and collaborating. Let's first start with what Celero has been working on since our last roadmap presentation. When we last met, Celero, we had just completed our initial migration to Office 365 for email. Since that time, we have been focused on our internal planning and migration from Skype to Business to Microsoft Teams. The concept of Teams expands collaboration options over the existing Skype for Business functionality of chats, calls, and meetings. With this comes a new way of thinking of how teams within your organization function and how you want to design teams going forward based on your collaboration requirements. And this means building a model that can accommodate those requirements and develop the rules and governance to maintain it going forward. Today, I'm happy to announce we have officially cut over to Teams only mode on June 16th. A significant component of this cutover involved the migration of our VoIP services. That means all incoming and outgoing calls using PSTN lines and all our peer-to-peer calls are now directed via Teams and not Skype for Business. Now, during the same time, we have been planning our internal migration of SharePoint sites. We are defining our governance strategy to support data being in the cloud and completing an in-depth review of our existing sites. As you can likely relate, we've been storing documents and files in SharePoint for many, many years. Due diligence is required to determine, do we still need these? We further need to ask ourselves, should we migrate it to the cloud? From a compliance perspective, can this data be stored in the cloud? So this is the perfect time to assess content and make a clean migration to the cloud. The learnings from our internal migrations for Teams and SharePoint will assist us to be ready to build repeatable processes, enhance our knowledge to ensure our customer experiences a smooth experience for your own migrations. Now, aside from our internal progress, we have officially kicked off our first pilot project along with a few priority requests from our customers. With these pilots underway, we have been able to start validating our repeatable processes. And learnings from these pilots are imperative to refining and streamlining future migrations. Our first customer migration is scheduled for early July, with the second scheduled for early August and some subsequent ones in September. As we have many customers interested in Celero's Office 365 offering, I would like to take this opportunity to give you an overview of the onboarding process in regards to the ordering documents that are involved with signing up to migrate to Office 365 through Celero. So for each project, there's 4 main documents that'll be involved: a service request, a statement of work, project charter, and ordering document. As each customer can initiate their Office 365 request through Celero's existing project request process. At this point, Celero will provide the customer with both a Microsoft service schedule and a statement of work. The schedule is slightly different than other Celero schedules you would be used to seeing. It will continue to have all the terms and conditions of the service, but the main difference is there is no term commitment involved in this document. Now, by executing the schedule, you're agreeing to those terms and conditions of the service, while the financial commitment will come later in the process. The SAU you receive will outline at a high level. It'll give you an estimate of the type and quantity of Celero bundled licenses you will require, and also outline the one-time implementation fees. Now, once the schedule and SAU are executed, a project manager will be assigned and a formal project charter will be provided. During the project, an ordering document will also be provided. Now, the ordering document will contain your finalized quantities and types of Celero bundled licensing that you'll require in Office 365. It's also going to define your annual financial anniversary date. And this is a stage where the financial commitment for the ongoing fees occurs. This is a high-level outline of the process. You can expect more information to be communicated in the near future. Now, as we look at the next steps, for those of you that have been patiently waiting to sign up for the service, we are working towards an end of July product launch for all of our customers. As a closing note on Office 365, if you're coming to Celero's FinTech conference, we will be hosting a workshop on Microsoft Teams. If you're not familiar with Teams, Microsoft is replacing Skype for Business for chat, calls, and meetings with Teams. Now, this is Microsoft's solutions for the modern team. While Skype had chat, meetings, and calls, Teams will take it further with more collaboration options. If you're interested in learning more, then plan to attend this workshop. In our last roadmap presentation, we mentioned we were in the process of reviewing market solutions to provide customers with what we had currently termed CU in a box. This item has been officially moved from under assessing to planning on the roadmap. Now, overall, Celero is looking to deploy a cloud-based virtualized desktop solution to provide end-user access to IT services, both at the client site or at a third-party service provider. The primary goal is to provide a consistent, secure, and supportable workstation delivery model. Rather than support and manage multiple on-premise customers or sites with a variety of legacy implementations, Celero wants to create a virtualized desktop service leveraging a cloud solution that will reduce complexity overall, will provide simplified support, and enable the credit unions to focus on financial services rather than desktop management. Now, the primary goal is to create a new service that allows for rapid, consistent, and easily supportable deployment of desktops to our end users. The high-level goals of the solution include a few things. First is ease of use for end users, also looking to increase end user satisfaction. We want to improve the end user service offering. We want to provide a consistent deployment and support model. We want to maintain and enhance security, look at reducing capital and or operating costs, reducing desktop side support costs, and providing an IT management or centralized IT management, and finally, improved IT capabilities and responsiveness. Now, Celero distributed an RFP to 7 vendors in the middle of April, and the responses were all due in early May. Now, of the 7 vendors, 6 did respond. And for the last month, Celero has been evaluating the vendor responses and ranking them against the detailed requirements, which are based on those high-level goals that were outlined today. Next, we have vendor presentations scheduled for late June and early July to go into a further in-depth review. Over the summer, we'll be selecting a vendor and working on an internal pilot of the solution with the intent to showcase more at Celero's FinTech conference. So once again, if you're attending Celero's FinTech conference and you're interested in learning more, there will be a workshop specific to this solution that you would want to plan to attend. Now I'll pass it over to Greg to discuss the various security offerings that he has been working on.
Thanks, Brandee. Today I'm pleased to be able to provide updates on two of our key initiatives within our line of security products. The first initiative is an update on the progress we've made in building out a managed security service, or MSS. During the last product webinar in February, we discussed how it's increasingly difficult for internal staff to stay current within the ever-changing cybersecurity environment and to stay current on those threats which target your organizations. A managed security solution will provide active monitoring and identification of those threats which are at your door and will assist you in mitigating that risk, proactively remediating any potential security gaps as well. At the time of the last update, Celero was completing an opportunity assessment around a potential offering. Since that time, we were able to validate that potential and we've progressed to a vendor assessment. We've shortlisted a group of potential partners, and along with a few of our client volunteers, we're going to be evaluating those vendors over the next couple of weeks, and we expect to select a preferred vendor by early July. Once we've completed a formal agreement, we will move to set up and configure that solution with the goal of being able to officially launch a product in early Q4. The second update is on Celero's work towards offering a password vault solution. So password vault can stand alone as a product. However, it's really most effective when you combine it with a solution like Celero's dark web solution. I'm sure you've heard about that in the past, but just as a quick refresher, the dark web solution scans those unseen layers of the internet where those bad guys tend to lurk and identifies compromised data associated with your employees, contractor, or other related personnel and their credentials. So identification of compromised credentials is sort of the first step, or is one step, but educating employees to implement best practices is equally as important. And a password vault empowers your organizations to use stronger passwords and more secure passwords. I think we all probably recognize the need for strong passwords and regularly resetting those passwords, as well as not reusing passwords. I think we've all probably experienced as well that updating and managing passwords can be especially challenging when we often try and manage 10 or 20 or even 30 plus different passwords on systems. So a password vault would act as your digital gatekeeper to fill in those login credentials and allow you to only have to recall that master password. It randomly generates passwords, so you and your staff don't have to remember to update your passwords. You don't have to try and create those unbreakable passwords and then try and recall them later. During our last webinar, we did proceed to trial one solution, and since that time, we have issued an RFI, and again, are currently in the process of selecting a vendor for an enterprise password vault. We expect to have that solution in place and be able to launch that offering late in the Q3 of 2019. As Brandee mentioned, both of these product offerings will have sessions at the conference as well. So if you're interested, make sure you attend. And if you have any questions at all on the progress of these products or on these product updates, please feel free to reach out to Brandee or myself directly for more information. Otherwise, that's the conclusion of our recording. Thank you for watching the Managed Services Roadmap Update.